What's going on, Magic fans? Welcome back to Behind the Sidelines. In this video today, we are going to be ranking the current Orlando Magic players into a tiers list. I thought this would be a fun video to do during the summertime while we're still waiting for the season to start. So without further ado, let's get started. So we have 5 different categories that we're going to be putting 17 players into in this video. We have future stars, starting caliber, valuable role players, reserves, and finally developing prospects. So we're going to start off with the developing prospects category. In this category, I first off have Caleb Houston, 6'8" forward out of Michigan, was drafted last year in the second round by the Magic. I think of him as a 3-and-D prospect. The Magic signed him to a 4-year contract last season, so I assume they do believe that Caleb can become a valuable player in the future, but right now he definitely still needs to work on his defensive ability. Although he's shown some promise, he definitely needs to become more consistent on that end and also become more consistent shooting 3-ball. He's done it very well at certain points, but his accuracy is sometimes not the greatest. He also needs to work a little bit on his off the dribble game, although that is not going to be a strength in the NBA. It's always good to have as a counter to defenders on the wing. And then the next 2 players I have in this category are Anthony Black, 6'7" guard out of Arkansas that was recently drafted with the number 6 pick in the 2023 NBA draft. And then the other Magic draftee from the 2023 draft was Jett Howard, 6'8" guard slash forward out of Michigan as well. And those 2 are rookies. It's hard to put them in a different category of, valuable role player or even starting caliber yet. We haven't seen any NBA games out of them yet, and we've only really seen Summer League. They both showed tremendous potential and promise, but I can't yet put them into any different category other than a developing prospect. Alright, now moving on to the reserves. In the reserves, we have Goga Bitadze, Chuma Okeke, Kevon Harris, and Admiral Schofield. Goga is definitely a guy that could move into the valuable role player status this coming season. He could definitely overtake Mo Wagner or even Jonathan Isaac if he's struggling with injuries as one of the backup bigs on this team. He did a great job being an offensive rebounder for us last season. He's a solid rim protector as well, an intimidator in the paint, and he's a solid finisher in the paint as well. He even showed us a little bit of a shooting touch at certain points at the end of last season after he was signed after the trade deadline in the buyout market, and I think that he could really become a valuable contributor for this team. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he becomes a valuable role player for the Magic soon. And then we have Chuma Okeke, who honestly was very disappointing last year. Chuma had a fantastic rookie season with the Magic. He was very, very solid. He looked like he was going to be a guy that could be a 3-and-D player, maybe potentially even a starting level player in the future. He's definitely dropped off after that. He looks a lot slower than he did in his rookie season. He seems to have lost his shooting touch as well. He's still a very solid defender and a solid rebounder as well, but he just doesn't provide much on the offensive end at all. So that is why he's a reserve, and I don't even know if he'll potentially be on this team for the entire year. If the Magic see that he's not providing much value, I could easily see them buying him out of his contract or waiving him after the trade deadline. Then there's the two-way guys in Kevon Harris and Admiral Schofield. Both of these guys are really high energy players. Obviously they're competing to make the official roster. So with Kevon, he's a scrappy defender. He's actually a very solid defender. He had a lot of tough assignments this past season guarding some high level players, and he just hustles like crazy, as does Admiral Schofield. He provides a lot of energy off the bench, a lot of toughness, a lot of grit, and they're both just great teammates to have. They're positive guys. They know how it is going back and forth between the G League and the NBA. Just good guys to keep your higher level players grounded to have on the team. Now we move into the valuable role player category. Here we have Cole Anthony, who is clearly the best bench player for the Orlando Magic. Sometimes was better than, some of the starters last season. Won the Magic a couple games by himself in the fourth quarter last season as well. He had the best season of his career with career highs in shooting percentage, three-point shooting percentage, and he really became a lot more consistent and efficient in his role off the bench as the sixth man, and that's the best role for Cole. I mean, he comes off the bench, he can score lights out. If he's not having it that night, then he doesn't play as many minutes, but you can expect this guy to put the ball in the basket on most nights for the Magic, and he was a very positive player for us last season. Next up, we have Gary Harris, who could very potentially be a starter this coming season. He was a starter last year and a starter the year before, so I wouldn't be surprised if he comes into the season as a starting shooting guard. He is the best 3-and-D player on the team, probably the best or the second best shooter. It's between him and Joe Ingles. On the team currently, he provides veteran experience, and he's a really solid defender on the perimeter as well. Him and Markelle Fultz make a great defensive tandem on the perimeter for the Magic, who do lack a lot of rim protection, so that is a very key thing for them. But Gary is a great veteran to have on this team. Then we have Joe Ingles, the Magic's newest signing, who signed for 2 years, $22 million, about $11 million a season. The second year is non-guaranteed. It's a team option. And Joe Ingles is probably the best pure shooter on this team. A guy that can just hit threes, hit 6 or 7 threes in a game for you, and potentially turn the tide in a game. He's also a very good playmaker at 6'9", can play multiple positions from point guard all the way up to possibly power forward for the Magic next season. A great role player to have. Next up, we have Jalen Suggs, the best perimeter defender on the team. He's an absolute dog on the perimeter. He will hound opposing players. He usually guards the best perimeter player every night for the Magic and can turn the tide on a game with just his pure all-out hustle and energy. Definitely the best perimeter defender on the team right now. And for Jalen, he could potentially work his way into the starting lineup if we do see his three-point numbers improve like they were at the end of last season. He was shooting almost 40% from three in the last couple of games. I think after the trade deadline last season, he was a lot better of a shooter when he got healthier. So we can only hope for health and improved shooting from Jalen Suggs, and that would be huge for the Magic. Then we have Moritz Wagner, who re-signed with the Magic this summer for 2 years, $16 million, about $8 million a season. The second year is non-guaranteed. It's a team option, just like Joe Ingles, but it's great to have Franz's brother back on the team. He is an absolute fantastic energy player. All he does is play with energy and pure hustle. He brings toughness. He's the irritator on this team, the guy that gets under the star player's skin on other teams. Sometimes he might push it a little too far. That time in Detroit last season, we don't need to talk about that. But we love having a guy like that on this team. The Magic do lack a guy like that, so it's great to have him back. And his chemistry with Franz is just uncomparable to any other two players on the roster. And then finally, for the valuable role player column, I have Jonathan Isaac. The reason why he's in this category is really because of his injury status, and we don't know necessarily what Jonathan Isaac is anymore. He came back for, I believe, 11 games last season before his season got cut short by another injury. And at this point, if he can stay healthy and give you anywhere from 18 to 20 minutes off of the bench in a consistent role and be a great defender for you, he is the best all-around defender on this team when healthy and that would be a huge asset for the Magic to have, to put him in certain situations that they would need a fantastic defender, like at the end of the game. He also is a solid offensive player with an improved jump shot and ability to drive and finish at the rim. And I only hope that he is healthy for the Magic next season, but right now he has to stay in the role player category. I do think if he's completely healthy, then maybe he has a shot of being in that starting lineup, but that would take a lot of proven time for Jonathan Isaac to earn that spot back. Now we're into the absolute no doubt starting caliber players on this team. In this category, I have two players. I have Wendell Carter Jr. and Markelle Fultz. The team's starting center in Wendell Carter and the team's starting point guard in Markelle Fultz. I think both of those positions are not up for grabs. I think those are set in stone. Wendell is arguably the most consistent player on this team. You know exactly what you're getting from him. A double-double threat every night, solid rim protection, just a good all-around defender on switches as well. And then Markelle Fultz, the team's best playmaker, the team's best floor general, and probably the guy that has the most impact on winning on this team. Once he came back from his injury fully, starting on December 7th, the Magic had a winning record for the rest of the year, and that was not a coincidence. Markelle Fultz got healthy and really was able to lead this team in a way that no other point guard on the team had been able to do so before. And then finally, we have the Future Stars category. Who else is going to be on this category? I got two guys, Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero. Both of these guys are absolutely on their way to becoming future All-Star players and possibly even future All-NBA guys for the Orlando Magic. Franz is probably the best all-around player on this team in terms of he scores almost as many points as Paolo, but on better percentages. He obviously has more NBA experience by a year than Paolo, but also he's a much better shooter than Paolo, so I would just say he's the better all-around player. He's also a more proven playmaker as well, less turnovers. He does need to improve his rebounding if he wants to take his game to another level, as well as ways to score in the mid-range. I think that's a big improvement area. He showed flashes last year of being able to pull up or fade away in the mid-range, but I think we could see more of it, and that would really unlock some of his scoring potential. And then for Paolo, he's the best scorer on this team. He's clearly the go-to guy, he's the number one option. The guy can give you points at the rim, at the free throw line. He's extremely adept at getting fouled and getting to the line, getting those easy buckets. Even when he's struggling to shoot the ball, he can still put up points, which is very key for a star number one player in the NBA. As well as, 20 points a game as a rookie, that's not easy to do. His percentages weren't fantastic, about 43% from the field, 29% or 28%, can't remember exactly, but from three-point range, you definitely want to see him improve on that jump shot, but he can give it to you in the mid-range too. He can shoot the three as well. He's not incapable of shooting the three. He had a month last year that really brought his percentages down. Otherwise, he'd be above 30% from three for the season. And I really think Paolo is going to be an absolute superstar in this league. He really has all of the tools to be able to get it done. He showed flashes of being a great playmaker. He needs to continue to improve on that, cut down on the turnovers, be less predictable in his movements, because he does get stripped of the ball a lot when driving to the basket from the perimeter, but his bread and butter is in the paint, and he is an absolute force in there. I expect him to come in after playing for Team USA and be even better going into this season. And his most important thing that he brings to the Magic is he's probably the only guy, maybe Franz a little bit, but probably the only guy on this team that can draw double, triple, even quadruple teams at times when he has it going. Opponents are very afraid of letting Paolo get hot. He can definitely win you a game with his scoring, and I think he has a lot to improve on. but the kid is only 1 year in, and he's going to be the absolute superstar that the Magic have been waiting 10 plus years for. And he's here, guys. Get ready for this next coming season. If you like the content, please leave a like on the video. It helps out so much. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe as well if you want to keep getting content from behind the sidelines and stay up to date with the Orlando Magic this entire season. And guys, most importantly, have a great rest of your day.